Ever since Tyron Woodley's controversial and incredibly boring title defense against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, we've been wondering who exactly was going to be next for him at welterweight. Obviously, Maia was supposed to be the guy, but he signed on to take this fight with Jorge Masvidal, and obviously now this fight's going to be coming up this Saturday. So you'd assume if Maia gets the win, it's going to give him his title shot finally. If Masvidal wins, perhaps he sneaks into the title picture after getting wins over Jake Ellenberger, getting a win over... I'm trying to think who else Masvidal beat. So his most recent win was against Ellenberger. He beat Cowboy Cerrone. Cowboy, of course, coming off of a fight with Matt Brown where he got knocked down a couple months earlier, and wasn't exactly his best performance. But you can't take that away from Masvidal. Still a big win for him. And then obviously, if he gets to win over Maia, that'd be huge for him. And whether or not that warrants a title shot or not at this point, that may not matter. He may still get it. Also in the picture, people are talking about how Nick Diaz might be a possibility for a title shot at 170. Hopefully that's not the case. He doesn't really deserve it, and especially if Maia wins. I would hate to see Nick Diaz jump ahead of Demian Maia for a title shot at this point. But if we're breaking down this fight, one of the interesting things that I've noticed about it in the lead-up is the way that Jorge Masvidal has talked about Demian Maia's grappling and how he is at least outwardly appearing as though he's supremely confident that even if Maia is able to get him down, which he says he's most likely not going to, he's not going to have too many issues in getting him off and defending himself and not getting finished. And as far as whether or not I think that he's right on that, I mean, to an extent, there can be some truth to that. Obviously, and I mentioned this with the Robert Whittaker versus Ronaldo Jacare Souza fight, a lot of times when you have these great grapplers, they're able to dominate people because they're so technically proficient, but a lot of times when you're so good at something, sometimes people just make an assumption, oh crap, this is Demian Maia, he's got a hook in on me, I'm fucked. Instead of thinking, oh, this is just a guy with a hook on me, let me just get out of here. And when Whittaker had his back taken momentarily, he didn't treat it like, oh shit, Jacare's got my back. He treated it like, oh, well, this guy's got my back, but he's a little high up, let me try to shake him off, get him out of there. He was able to do so, he got him off, and then was able to work his game plan from there and eventually get the finish. So if Masvidal is under the impression, or at least feels as though, yes, he's Demian Maia, but I'm a very good grappler too. If he gets a good position on me, I'll be fine. To an extent, that can help in that it's going to mean that he's unlikely to be in a position where if Maia doesn't quite have control of him, he'll just kind of see it and be like, oh shit, Maia's got me here, I'm fucked. I've got to just defend now when there's actually a chance for him to get out. So I think that's a positive for him going in, but again, a lot of what he's been saying is that he thinks his takedown defense is what's going to matter here. And the problem with having that approach with Demian Maia is that Maia will pull guard on you. Like, having takedown defense is good if the guy you're going against is only going to just try to shoot for a takedown and work from there. A lot of times Jacare likes to just shoot for the takedown, although he'll occasionally pull too. But with Demian Maia, his takedown game is so unique in that even if Jorge Masvidal does well with Colby Covington in the room, Colby's got different takedowns than Maia does, and Colby's never going to shoot for a takedown, not get it, fall into half guard, hell, even pull mount, and then try to grab a leg and then pop up on a single and finish it. That's what Demian Maia does, and the problem is that if Maia gets you with that once, if he even pulls mount on you, gets to a single leg, takes you down, well, all of a sudden now this whole round, what exactly are you going to do, Jorge Masvidal? Are you going to kind of use your butterfly hooks and get up? Because again, the butterfly game is what Maia is incredibly good at encountering. He's got that tripod, the whole tripod series he likes to work. Obviously, I had mentioned this in the past, but I'll keep saying it every time Demian Maia fights because it's well worth watching. BJJ Scout has a whole video series on the way that Demian Maia passes guard, and a lot of it's based off of using a tripod to kind of get his hips up in the air, lessen the effect of a butterfly hook, and work his way past the guard. So is that what Masvidal is going to do if he does get taken down? What kind of success he's going to have? Obviously, we've seen fighters in the past, including Matt Brown, who went all the way into the third round where they get taken down early in the round and they survive. There's no reason to believe that Jorge Masvidal can't survive at points, but this is a 3-round fight. If you are forced to survive 2 rounds, you better get a finish, otherwise you're still going to lose. And to think that Demian Maia can get a couple takedowns, or whether he pulls guard into it or whether he just shoots and drags him to the mat, I mean, Demian Maia's got so many different ways to take you down that are so unusual, and this is something that Chael Sonnen got unnecessary heat for in the past, where he said that Demian Maia has terrible wrestling, but it works. And what he's saying is that, like, just pure technique-wise, if you just train with pure wrestlers, the stuff Maia does is stuff that you'll usually get corrected for, but he finds a way to make it work. So if Maia just gets 2 takedowns in 2 different rounds, even if he doesn't get his finish, he's still likely to win the fight. unless Masvidal can beat him on the feet. And again, when you're worried that the guy you're fighting is going to take you down, it makes your striking so much less effective because for one, you're not going to want to throw your kicks, so that's going to take away a big weapon. But even your punches, how many strikes are you going to put into a combo before you're worried about the guy shooting under you and taking you down? So then if you're starting at just single shot, maybe you can win a round or two here or there, but again, that's going to mean that either Masvidal's game plan is just going to be to jab for 15 minutes, or it's going to... I don't really know what he plans on doing to win this fight, but against a guy like Demian Maia, you have to be so spectacular, and I don't see that from Masvidal. I see a guy in Masvidal who's very good everywhere, but he's not great in any one spot. And against a guy like Maia, who is fantastic in one spot, I guess you could argue too with his offensive wrestling and the way that he's able to get his takedowns, but then also his jiu-jitsu, obviously. That's going to be a tough matchup, and as much as Masvidal is selling that he's going to be able to counter that and stop it, as much as Tyron Woodley, who is at least affiliated with him with ATT, is going around saying this was a bad matchup for him and he shouldn't have taken it, I don't see Demian Maia losing this fight. I see him winning the fight, and I really hope to see him given a title shot after this and not have some guy like Nick Diaz pluck it away from him or have GSP come in at the last second. Just Maia's earned his title shot. He's getting older, kind of like Jacare, and you don't want to see Maia lose a title fight where it looks like, oh, a younger Maia might have done better, but this Maia wasn't there, where that was kind of the case with the Jacare-Whitaker fight, where Jacare just felt so slow out there. It's like either Whitaker's really fast or Jacare is starting to decline, and it's a shame. So again, Demian Maia should win this fight. It may not be the most exciting fight. It may be a very interesting fight. I know at least once the fight starts, it's going to be very interesting to see what way it goes, but I feel like once we're about a minute or two in, you'll kind of have an idea of how this fight's going to go, and then from there, we'll see who the next welterweight contender is going to be.